Top 5 fans. So, Aljamain Sterling did an interview with Submission Radio, if I'm correct. And he did talk about a lot of things. He talked about his upcoming fight. He talked about his fight with Peter Yan. He talked about just where he's at mentally and such. So, what I want to talk to you guys about is after his fight with Peter Yan, do you guys give him the credit of being Bantamweight champion? Because I know there's been a lot of talks and a lot going on regarding that. There's been a lot happening regarding that. There's been a lot of talks about him possibly being Bantamweight champ. There's about him being that whole dispute that he had. We remember when we had that first fight with Peter Yan. He was doing okay for that first round or two, and then all of a sudden he just got tuned up by Peter Yan nonstop, and he was getting picked apart very easily. But then Peter Yan got him with that illegal knee, and the fight ended in a DQ, and that's how he got the belt. Now he was very, we remember he wasn't the very happiest the way he won. He was very emotional, but then we remember seeing all these pictures that he was taking and the interviews that he was doing at the time, and how long it took for the rematch to take place. I believe it was a whole year. And then when the rematch did take place, he did okay. He did not steamroll over Peter Yan. He definitely did what he was supposed to do. He wrestled him. He didn't want to do where he took too much damage. He played it very, very safe. He used his skill, which was wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He comes from a very big grappling background when training with Matt Serra. Matt Serra was definitely a 3-stripe, 4-stripe black belt jiu-jitsu artist. You look at Matt Serra's career, so that's basically his trainer right there. And so, nonetheless, that's what Aljamain Sterling won, and he was able to get the title that way. By barely a small decision. Because we all remember, I think that first round when nothing really went down. He got that leg kick. There was small movements going around here and there, and then all of a sudden, next thing we know, I believe it was the 2 rounds where he was possibly 3 rounds. He was just wrestling with Peter Yan nonstop. He wasn't striking with him. He wasn't doing anything. He was just doing a lot of grappling, and he was able to pretty much stop Peter Yan from what he does best. And Peter Yan, if you look at Peter Yan, he is definitely a destruction. We saw what he was able to do to Riot Faber. We saw what he was able to do to Jose Aldo. So he's been able to put away some very good opponents. And, he was a really good champ himself. When he defended it against Aljamain, he was working Aljamain. Aljamain had no answer for what Peter Yan was doing. He did really good that first round, and the rest of the fight, forget it. Peter Yan was tuning him up very, very easily up until that illegal knee shot. But then, like I said, after all things said and done, now he wins the title. Aljamain wins the title. Unfortunately, it was a way that a lot of us did not like, but nonetheless, it's still a win. Where do we put him? Do we give him that credit? Kind of, sort of, because he did come back and he did do what he needed to do. Maybe it wasn't the way we wanted him to do it, sure. I'm sure a lot of us would have appreciated him knocking him out, or possibly even submitting him, or doing whatever the case may be, dominating him in that sort of way. But you know what? He's not paid in there. He's not supposed to do what we want him to do. He's going to do what he's got to do to win, and that's what he did. I personally would give him credit for going in there with that rematch, because he could have won against anybody else. Even though he would have never got that credit. We know how he won. It was very unfortunate. It happened, but seeing how he was reacting after the fact, it definitely rubbed us the wrong way a lot. But nonetheless, still, I give him respect and props for giving Peter Yan that rematch. And, moving on, the only thing I didn't like is the fact that it took longer to move on. Like, you just got off an injury. You couldn't do a rematch. And now you did surgery. Now here we are towards the end of the year, where I believe, I want to say, when did that fight go down? I think it was in March. I have to look into that, when Peter Yan and Aljamain had their match again. So I think it may have been April. Could have been around that time frame. So it's been a long time. But here we are. He's going to be facing TJ Dillashaw, which should be another very fun fight. Now, Aljamain is a very big guy. So that fight with TJ is actually going to be very, very interesting. I will talk about that more. But right now I'm talking about will we give him credit. With this fight, I could definitely see him getting more credit. He definitely had some wins over good opponents. He has that win over Corey Sandhagen. He has a few other wins and a few notable opponents, but I think the big opponent that he has right now is that win over Peter Yan, and he still has a long, long list to go through. You know, a very long list of people like, you know, you still got that rematch with Corey Sandhagen, you still got Cheeto Vera, you still got obviously TJ Dillashaw, you still got a, I don't want to say a rubber match. I could see it possibly being a rubber match with Peter Yan, only reason because of the fact that we already know how that first one went down, and that second one was so close. So nonetheless, I could definitely see Peter Yan getting another one, and then you got the young star, the young up and comer, Sugar Sean O'Malley. So he definitely has a lot to go through. Now he's working his way towards getting that credit, but it's just a matter of time, and hopefully he does stay within this division. Hopefully he does stay and does not choose to move up, because I've heard some talks about that. So, nonetheless, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Aljamain should get this credit for being Bantamweight champ, or you think that he still has to work and has to do something in order to prove to us that he is actually the legit Bantamweight champ? I would like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.